Hello again. Thanks for joining us at Life at St. Paul's. If I say the word uncertainty, I wonder what that makes you think about. Maybe it's the uncertainty that you're given a present, you don't know what's in the box, and that uncertainty creates a sense of excitement. Maybe you're waiting for exam results and there's a sense of nervousness. Maybe you've had a hospital test and you're still waiting for the results. Maybe that's making you nervous, maybe it's affecting your sleep, your appetite. And life is about dealing with things where some are always certain, but life has things also that makes us uncertain. And the last year or so has been a fine example of that. And we're still facing a degree of uncertainty today at St. Paul's. But I wonder for some of us, it's almost like a kind of seesaw, that when the uncertainty gets too great and too much for us, I wonder if that's when we start to struggle a little more. I think there's loads of stories in the Bible that we can learn from, characters that deal with life in the same way that we're having to deal with life. And one person that I can't wait to talk to when I get to heaven is Abraham. Because he was told by God, he was given this instruction to go to Israel, and God gave him a promise that I'm going to make a great nation from you. I'm going to make your name great, and I'm going to bless people through you. And the story we read in Genesis is Abraham with members of his family then set off on this huge journey. And we don't really hear an awful lot as to what happens to Abraham during that journey. But just imagine it for a second. He's left his hometown and he's off to Israel based on what God has told him. And there's no account of God speaking to him in that journey. God next comes into the story when Abraham then arrives in Canaan. And I just wonder, and this is why I'd love to talk to him, I just wonder what on earth was going on in Abraham's mind and his family as they journeyed over days and weeks to arrive in Canaan. And so my question for us today is, I wonder whether or not the uncertainty that's in our life, I wonder if we believe in some of the promises that perhaps Abraham did. Abraham went on that instruction from God, believing in God. And we read in Hebrews that he was a man of faith. And therefore, I wonder if some of the uncertainty that we're dealing with, I wonder if there's anything from the story of Abraham that we could apply to our own lives. And my suggestion to us, and to me as well, is I wonder if if the scales have tipped too much, I wonder if there's little bits of uncertainty, maybe not the big ones, but we could start with the small ones, in giving them to God, trusting him, praying and letting God understand our mind and our heart about how this uncertainty is affecting us. And learning with the small ones to then say, you know what, God, you know my heart. I'm handing this uncertainty to you. I'm in one sense letting go of it to let you take care of this for me. And we don't know everything about Abraham, but he went on a promise and God never let him down. And I don't think God will let us down when he makes these promises to be both in us and with us. And therefore my challenge to us today, and my challenge to myself, is as we bump into those bits of uncertainty in our lives, can we identify just some of them and say, God, you know my heart. You know that this uncertainty is making me feel uncomfortable, anxious, or whatever word you might attach to it. And Lord, I want to give that over to you. I want you to take this and journey with me, and believing in the promise that God is in us and with us. Thanks for watching.